Okay, just a little note on the economy. I've been mentioning that I've been watching a channel, Wandering Turnip, where a nice young guy shows all these retail vacancies in major UK cities. So he was mentioning today that the reason why they would rather have shops empty than lower the rent is because when they lower the rent, it's telegraphing out that the property values are not worth as much as as advertised. It's a way of saying, hold on, we own all these buildings, we own all this retail space, all these shopping malls, and the value is not very high. And then suppose their books would have to be adjusted, affecting the assets of these various companies, and that's why they won't lower rents. So it's all a manipulation. Now, eventually they're saying the UK is in recession. Well, we have known that, and that's despite record immigration, because we know that both legal and illegal immigration keeps GDP artificially high. Plus, so does government spending, because the GDP is a totally fakeable metric or way of analyzing things. It could be so easily used as a tool by government to manipulate figures and make it seem like the economy is better than it is. So here we see another manipulation with these high rentals to give an impression that everything is okay and the property stock in the UK is worth an awful lot more than it is. It's all about manipulation. So any news you get on the economy, you can't really trust. You've got to trust your instinct, your eyes, your ears, and keep a note of what's really going on in your own neighborhoods or cities to kind of suss what's happened. It's the illusion of wealth that they want to keep going, even as the UK slides down the scales, and America. As long as they keep the illusion of wealth and prosperity and do that in any way possible, well, it's going to fool a lot of people for a small amount of time. Oh, by the way, if you guys didn't note this, Labour, who are highly likely to win the next election, partly because because of apathy, and because Labour, at the end of the day, have a much stronger base, because their people on the ground will get the vote out, and there's a huge amount of people that are, die-in-the-wall Labour voters that are going to vote for them. So there's no way they're not going to win. They want to bring the 2030 deadline back for banning petrol and diesel cars. Now, obviously, that's going to have effect on the market, regardless of whether in 2030 they're ready. And I say they won't be. Think of all the infrastructure. There's so much housing stock in the UK that's thoroughly not conducive for charging electric cars. It's a total change in the whole setup. There's no way that they're going to create the infrastructure, because one of the best features of governments is their utter incompetence, which means sometimes these things don't get done. So, that's what they want to do. But again, you can see this is communism. It's a planned economy. Government are deciding, and it's going to affect a massive industry. You watch TV, what's one of the biggest things advertised? It's cars. It's a huge industry across Europe, Germany. Obviously, the wholesalers of cars in the UK, it's something that nearly every person will purchase at some point, or many people multiple of times. So communism, because it's affecting that whole industry. Yes, just a note, if you guys watched my chart reading for Israel, you would have seen that two similar years were 1981 and 2002. One of those was the year that Israel kind of annexed the Golan Heights of Syria. So it was a large chunk of land that sort of came under their auspices. And I wonder if this might be the year most of Gaza comes under their auspices, because I think that there's the raison d'etre, really, behind this whole thing. But I was looking even in 2002 and 1981 at the huge amount of terror attacks that are going on. Now, we don't want that sort of thing, but it did seem to me funny that that's it's not really a thing anymore. So is it because security got better and it can't happen, or because powers that be don't want it to happen because they were behind it in the first place? Because you always have to look at it that way. It's like, what's happening? Who's behind it? Who benefits from it? Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you had a really good weekend. Good luck in the week ahead. The transit should be a lot more conducive. Last week we had Mars conjunct Pluto, which generally upped the ante. It made everyone feel a little bit more passionate, anxious, and sometimes that made emotions bubble over. So have a great week.